Hey everyone, welcome back to the Alehorn for August 2023 here on the Flamekeeper Network. Um, Today I'm joined by my usual partner in crime, Mark Jackson from the Metal Forge, and also a pretty new addition to the Flamekeeper Network, the Wrestling Steve Show, which we'll talk about in a little bit later. So I'm excited that's back.
Yeah, I don't know about that yet.
Okay, well, there is an episode of the Wrestling Steve Show that Mark does on the Flamekeeper if you're interested in listening to it.
Yeah, there's a one-off on the flamekeeper.vip deal. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's just a one-off. I love Wrestling Steve to death, and it's been about a year since he had done a show. So I was watching a wrestling video on YouTube, and I was just like, what the fuck? And made a reaction to it. So
Okay, cool. All right. Well, it might be a thing. I don't know. But like Mark said, you can join us over at flamekeeper.vip for all the info for tiers and exclusive content like video form of the Metal Forge in some cases, early access to the podcast, pre-order on merch and fest and stuff like that for $1, $2, or $5. We don't ask a whole lot, but if you want to contribute, we really would appreciate it, and also get your name in the credits on the videos.
yeah, for sure.
So, yep, go ahead.
And on top of that, uh, obviously while you're doing that, you can also get discount codes on the Metal Forge stuff as well. The Metal Forge T-shirts get a discount. The Metal Forge sampler disc Volume One gets a discount. Yeah, just check it out.
Cool, yeah. And like I said before, the new website is flamekeeper.vip. That will take you right to the page you need to do everything to find out all the info over there. So the topic this week, or this month, I should say, is me and Mark both do a small time fest, book them and play them. So we're going to talk about the trials and tribulations on both sides of booking and playing fest. So Mark is doing the big goddamn metal show in October, and my fest is called Steel and Stone, which is in November. So those are coming up in the next few months. So be looking out for the details for Steel and Stone, at least hasn't been announced yet. Mark's Big Goddamn Metal Show has been announced for a while now, so you can find the details out on Facebook and on the Metal Forge website for those. But let's just start with you, Mark. This is your first year doing a fest of this size, right?
Yes.
Okay. How
Now
was it?
back
Basically.
well, so far I'm not in freak out mode yet.
All right.
Um, I am getting things in line, and obviously, we are just about 2 months away from the actual date.
Right.
So, getting the awesome new headliners for Friday with Throne of Iron, I think, made this an even bigger explosion than
Mhm.
than what I was thinking. Because Throne of Iron's debuting in Louisville. Snafu is coming back to Louisville just after playing with Pantera and such this past weekend on these three shows. And I think they're very well being received right now. Both of those
Right.
bands are.
Cool.
And so that aspect of it is just like, all right, this is cool. And it's just like in today's gambit of like doing like pre-sales and stuff like that, it's really kind of a, if you get one, it's like, oh hey, I got one, but like when it's like your first year doing it,
Yeah.
and the last time I was part of a big 14 band show that like I helped promote was back in like 2001.
Wow. It's been a
And,
while, huh?
yeah. And yeah, so we were in high school when that happened. And but I've promoted bigger like 5, 6 band festival style shows in the past. Like 1 day things. And I'm very adamant on I hate multiple day festivals, right? So I wanted to give it a feel like it was a festival that you could attend, but you could very much pick your show of what you wanted to do. And that's where I came up with the big goddamn metal show, 2 venues, 2 nights. You know, you've got this venue on Friday, this venue on Saturday. Friday's bands are completely different than Saturday's bands. Friday, you have more rock oriented bands. You've got some doom bands. You know, you've got Throne of Iron that day. That's a fantasy D&D metal band,
Right.
a dungeon crawl band as they are. And then Saturday, you've got some fucking tech bands. You've got some fucking thrash bands, and you've got fucking, you know, the heavy.
You're playing on Saturday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Saturday's ending slots will be Baptize, Overload, and then Snafu.
Gotcha.
That'll be the last three sets of Saturday.
Cool.
To close out the weekend for us.
So, like, what got you into like thinking to do a festival like this, like on your own? Like, what inspired you? Just lack of, or just because you could do it better? You think you can do it better than other festivals?
No, because I think that, you know, like I said, I hate like the big idea of like 100 band weekend shows, you know, like at the time that I am putting this show on,
mm-hmm.
they're promoting 8 days of fucking music 3 weeks before this.
Right.
2 to 3 weeks before this. And it takes place the last 2 weekends of September. And it's Bourbon and Beyond and Louder Than Life.
Right.
And they're both Wimmer Productions, and they both start Thursday through Sunday. So it's just like, you know, you've got that whole the Bourbon and Beyond Fest are like all the 70s bands and stuff. The ones that are, you know, Fleetwood Mac and you know, bands like that, like, and then like weird like country bands like Patty Loveless and shit. Like Jewel would probably play at Bourbon and Beyond because it's all part of that, you know, that culture, that born in the 50s culture.
Gotcha. You don't think Jewel would play the big
running on empty and shit, you know?
You don't think Jewel would play the big goddamn metal show by any chance?
Probably not. Which I mean, there's some stuff that's cool. I'm not gonna deny it, but no, she probably wouldn't.
I got you.
But yeah, the big goddamn metal show was an idea that I had. It's like I needed a name for a fest, and I was just like, man, I want to do it, but I want to do it different. I don't want to do it the same way everybody else does. I don't want to fucking sit there and sacrifice, you know, multiple stages and missing bands that you want to see. And I want to make it ultimately like an old time fucking show, you know, like the more bang for your buck kind of thing. You know, it's like five, 6 bands and it's $15.
Right.
You know, so the quality is fucking there. It's you want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, it's for fucking cheap. You know, the beer's going to be fucking cheap. So fucking, yeah, I mean, what's not to fucking love? And you can fucking hang out at any point in the fucking day, whether you want your bands that are playing at fucking 6 and 9 or fucking, you know, fucking 6, 7 and fucking midnight. Fucking hang out. Go next door to the fucking pizza place at Pizza DoNisi or fucking order food at 21st in Germantown. It's fucking fuck, you know, it's a no-brainer. It's two awesome fucking shows back to back.
Right. Yeah, that sounds cool. I've played one fest like that. It was like a bigger ordeal. It was a bigger deal as far as like size bands, but we played like night 1 of the inaugural. I thought it was awesome, like the two night option. Like it was like night 1 was like in a small venue, night 2 was in a big venue. You know, you could buy you could buy the weekend pass. You could buy to either one or the other. You know, so yeah, it was cool. It's called Heavy Mountain. Funny enough, I just ran into the guy that booked that Thursday at the Horse Burner show, and he was like telling me what's going on with it. It's not dead, but it hit a snafu, not the band, but a
right.
But a booking issue with
wow.
bands coming to town.
And ultimately that being a promoter on my level, and I'm not a huge promoter or whatever. I mean, you played my shows.
Oh, it's fine. I mean,
I'm not a promoter into the level of like some of these people are
yeah.
that promote really big metal festivals out there.
Mhm.
And but the thing about it is my biggest thing is like getting bands and getting them and then having them cancel. Because ultimately something happens where somebody has to cancel.
Right.
Like, for example, the Hell You Say was going to play the show, and due to some personnel issues that have been happening, they had to bow out, and I didn't want to push them to have to force them to put on a lackluster performance.
Yeah.
Because they would have done that. Because I know those guys, and they would have pushed it and not been ready, and either it would have went on to the day of, and then have been like, sorry, we're not ready for this, so just nip it right now.
Yeah. Kind of like doing so, do them a favor by just taking it away from them because you know better.
Well, no, and I mean, I don't want to say that I'm like, I would take it away, but it's like, hey, dudes, I need to know what's going on. Do you think this is something that can happen? And
Yeah.
then you just ask them as professionally as possible. And I think that ultimately, if you're dealing with a professional band, they're gonna respond in kind and say, "Look, maybe we're not." And I'm sorry that I signed on to this. And and that I think is where the real aspect of the music scene is the real respect between each other. It's like, dude, do you want to come to Louisville this coming summer? And it's like, I would love to, but I don't know how well we can make it work. And that's cool. But don't say yes and then say, oh fuck, dude, we can't make this work. I've been promoting for 6 months.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, gotcha.
And now that's a really big issue because there's bands that are announcing their cancellation of shows, but the venue is still like where they paid for advertisements up through a certain date, are still inadvertently running ads on social media, still advertising that band because they paid for ads in advance.
Right.
So that's another fear and these venues are getting like chastised for it. Like, oh, you're advertising and this band canceled, and they're saying they're canceled, and you're still saying that they're going to be there. That's a real thing.
I mean, on Facebook, you can change your ad. Should I go to ad and you just edit it? Like anything. So it's
See,
really,
I've never done that.
yeah, it's really kind of like on the venue for just kind of being like lazy, but it's not hard to do. Yeah.
So, well, see, I've never known how to do that.
Yeah. If you run an ad, it's just in your tabs and you just go in there, you just edit. Yeah. So,
Mind blown on me today, son of a bitch.
I mean, that's what I'm here
So
for.
what about you, man? So this is your what, 6th year?
Seventh. Not well, obviously we don't count COVID, but it's seventh year consecutive, except for 2020. Yeah.
So this is actually the 7th show.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I started actually me and Micah were just about 7.5 years ago. Me and Micah were just like, I fucking hated that we don't ever get announced to like festivals. Like, let's just fucking start our own. That was it. Like, what should we call it? What should we do? It's like, I don't fucking know. So we both just kind of jumped in blind. Like, and there's another guy that he didn't really get on it much anymore, but I kind of like threw ideas off him, see what he thought. And he just came up with like Stone and Steel. I was like, actually, I think Steel and Stone actually flows better. He's like, that works too. So like that was like step one. And then it was like, well, who the fuck do we get to play? Like how many bands should it be? Stuff like that. So the first year was really like, dude, the fact that it even happened was like amazing because like I knew the guys at the venue were cool. I knew like the venue holds like 100 people, so I kind of knew like if you did $10, you have like $1,000 to play with, minus the venue fee, which is like not that much. So like really like it's probably like 800, 750 in all actuality. So I was just like, well, let's get like just regional bands. Like let's go like South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina. And then the idea was at first, like, let's get these bands that we think would be good together and they can meet each other and trade shows in each other's states, so these bands could actually like form a network of some kind,
Right.
So like the Tennessee bands never playing South Carolina can hit this band up and vice versa, and we start this big like network, like almost like a mesh network of
Made a scene.
bands. Yeah, it's kind of exactly, but it was like regionally focused. So like year one, it was like let's just keep like southeast states surrounding North Carolina, or like let's stay like 4 hours from Asheville, like no more than 4 hours from Asheville. Blah 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 blah. So that's what I did. I had 3 locals, including us, and 3 out of town and 3 out-of-state bands. The only thing is I got 2 of the out-of-state bands pretty quick, but the headliner was the hardest part. Because really, I didn't realize that if you offer money to someone headlining and it's not enough, they could get really fucking insulted. So you kind of gotta like look around, kind of see what kind of shows they play, if they're signed, stuff like that, and then like just shoot your shot. So my first year was Cloak from Atlanta. Luckily, they weren't even signed yet. They're on Season of Mist now. They were pretty new, never played up here before. So I'll just divulge it. I offered them $250 and they fucking jumped on it. I was like, sweet, because I knew that I could get at least like 600 or 700 for the night. So I was like, 250 is very doable. And even if it wasn't, I could stand to pay the rest out of my pocket. Not a big deal.
Right.
So yeah, then after that, man, I learned a lot. Actually, I had a lot of bands hitting me up to play the next year, but I wanted to make sure I kept it invite only, because if you just throw the net out, like, hey, bands, you want to play? Hit me up. And it's like you get like 40 bands and you got to tell like 32 or like, 34 of them, sorry. So I made a decision myself that I'm doing this invite only. That way I don't have to let anybody down by telling them,
right.
So the next year was a little bit easier. There was local bands hit me up to play, which was nice. Then I found out the only thing is when you ask local bands if they want to open at a venue they play at a lot, some of them get really offended. So I had one band actually told me to go get fucked. I was like, that's fine. I understand, but look, this is how it goes. It's opener out of town, local out of town, local headliner. The locals help the out of town bands sustain the audience. That was the thought behind it. So just because I asked you to open didn't mean I think you suck. It's just that I think
ultimately
that
it's for the better of the show.
Exactly. That was like the whole thought behind it. But this one band they weren't having any of it. And he told me to get fucked. I saw the message somewhere. I see it pop up every once in a while. I just laugh because I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I deserved it. Probably not. I mean, I didn't mean no malice towards asking, but.
Well, my favorite thing is ticket sales.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
In my estimation of promotion, fucking like ticket sales, bands, they hate it, and I get it because I'm a musician as well, and I get why you hate it, but you got it. It's a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil, and that's all.
Well, in my case, like the venue pretty much handles all the stuff because all the shows except for one have been at the door because it's not really like a box office venue; it's a bar with a venue. So it's all door, like, only the big shows, like if it's like Black Tusk or a band of that status, they'll do pre-sales to make sure that, whoever wants to get in can get in. But most of the time it's just I just do at the door. It's like $10 at the door for 6 bands. I think one year I did 7. One jumped on last minute. But I usually keep it pretty cheap, and I know about what I'm working with most of the time. So yeah, and then but here lately, man, like I've been saving the opening slot lately for bands that ask me late because it makes it easier. I got one slot open; it's opening. If you want it, you can have it, and they jump on it, and then there's no feelings hurt. So like it's been a big thing about navigating egos, navigating pay for bands of all up and down the bill from headliner to opener. You just kind of learn like, okay, this is what I worked with last year. It's pretty similar. So I can guarantee you this much, hopefully more, but minimum, you'll get this much. Headliner, I guarantee them what I say. Usually what I do is I take the money with me. I'll pay them when I get there. and then at the end of the night, I'll recoup that money. And there's a little bit more. I'll give them a little bit more if I can. But I just want to make sure the headliner gets paid because they're always traveling. So my
Right.
headliners, my headliners have been Cloak, Horse Burner, Howling Giant, us one year because our headliner backed out like about a month before, so I just moved us up the headline. Night Demon was 2 years
Damn,
ago.
man.
Yeah, and then the headliner
So
last year
you
actually got
probably
COVID.
played every position on the slot.
Yeah, the headliner last year actually got COVID like 3 days before, so they had to drop off. So we just moved one of the bands that wanted to play like 90 minutes up to the headliner. They were called I think they're called Empire, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty cool guys. And
Oh
then and
yeah.
this year's unannounced yet, but it's a pretty big deal to me. So after you watch
It
this
is a big
episode,
deal.
go see the announcement later this week. But yeah, I think it is. But yeah, so dude, it's just been like a learning experience. But actually, over the years, except for the headliner part, it's gotten kind of easier because like I get the headliner first, and then I'm like, well, who would fit locally and close to out of town? So it's thrash shows. Like, okay, it's Night Demon, so let's go like trad metal oriented. So let's do Oblivion Throne and bring in our band and these guys, those guys, these guys. I think it'll be good. If it's like a stoner band, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, we got all these bands I can pull from that we've played with before and whatnot. So it's kind of like get your top piece, figure out the rest of your pieces below. And I have to say, dude, like all my festivals, even the ones I really didn't put much effort into, last year was kind of like my weakest effort because I didn't know how I was going to top Night Demon because that was such a big one. I was kind of like,
Right.
man, I don't even know how I'm going to top this one this year. So what you do is you just kind of go a different direction, and then the next year it feels like you're doing big things again because it's a totally different feel from lineups, you know.
Right. And that's the whole thing too, is what I was gonna say is like, ultimately with mine, I just view it as like it's two big shows.
Yeah, I mean that's how I would do it if I was doing that setup. I would just do it as two shows also.
Yeah, like whatever night, and that's what the way I've tried to set it up. Like I've got my groups of people like in the Facebook messages that that are um that are just like, okay, this is night one people, and this is night two people.
Yeah.
And I have it like super easily set up to where it's like, you are my contact. I will you are who I will deal with on everything.
Yeah.
And then I also put like the person who runs the room in there.
Yep.
In that deal, and doing that for both nights. So it's like, okay, here's this. We're doing two separate shows, but ultimately the only marry in those is the weekend pass.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
So
Yeah, what I do as far as like that goes, when about a month before the show every year, I will whoever I've been dealing with in the bands, I will just add like I will make like a new group. It'll be like Steel and Stone 7 or whatever, but that's this year, Steel and Stone 6. And everyone that I've been dealing with, I will put them in the group, and then I'll just throw in like the like arrival, like the stage load in, load out procedure, the perks like the discounted meals or like the drink tickets or the how many guests if there's any stuff like that. And then if anybody has any questions, then I also have the guy who books the venue and the sound guy. So if there's any questions, they can see these questions and answer them. So I don't have to play third party like, oh yeah, let me ask this guy real quick, I'll get back to you. It's like, well, if I just have like a big open chat, people can just ask what they need and the right people will see it and they can respond. And I won't have
right,
to just do all this extra, bootleg work for something that they could do themselves,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I enjoy doing it. But like I said, like every year I'm like, maybe this is my last year. I don't know if I'll top this one. And then I'll like get motivated and like, yeah, I could top that one, you know.
That's the, but that but honestly though, so this is being the seventh year,
Yeah.
and you think you're like, I don't know if I can top this one, but obviously you could.
Well, if you come off more money, but the thing is, like, there's the venues around here are tough because a lot of them are downtown street parking, which
Right.
for like 5 or 6 bands, that would be a nightmare, because not only do you have to unload on the street, then you gotta go find somewhere to park, and it's all paid parking. Like
Mm,
the hotel downtown has a guard. You don't have a pass, you don't fucking get in. Blah 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 blah. Need 2 spots, you fucking forget it. Stuff like that. So the reason I stick with the auditorium is it's small. I mean, 100 people, but the parking's plentiful. The load in and load out is really easy. And the staff is really cool. So that goes a long way on having the motivation to do it. Because if it was like downtown parking all the time, dude, I would have done 1 year and called it, because that would have been it would so fucking hard to tell bands like, yeah, you gotta go find these expensive parking spots or park way far away. Or hell, even like go park at the mall and call Uber back to fucking play, and then get an Uber to go back to the mall to pick up your shit and come back, which is like a 15-minute round trip through traffic and stuff, stuff like that. I don't want to do.
right.
So that's why I'm just like at this, and that's why I'm like at the easiest venue in town to do.
Right. To do it. I get that. And honestly, that was one of the selling points for Throne of Iron was he's like, I'm a sucker for a good parking lot. I actually
Dude,
sent
it is something that every band should think about. I mean, like, it's a pain in the
Oh
ass.
yeah.
Yeah.
Parking in LA is the worst.
Dude, we
Parking
played Nashville one year. That was a street parking. And it was a fucking nightmare pulling a trailer to go find somewhere, man. I'll be honest. You know.
when we played in Nashville back at the end of June, it was a nightmare because there was a concert going on in like Centennial Park there, right next to Springwater, and everywhere was fucking packed.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden, like 9 o'clock happened, and everybody was gone.
Right.
And then you could find parking anywhere.
Yeah.
And so that was like the weirdest shit I'd ever seen.
Especially at nine
But no,
o'clock. That seems like prime time to be full
yeah,
and can't find anywhere.
no, it wasn't. But no, LA parking is the worst because they have a 2 hour time limit and they will ticket you. You cannot repay the meter. You have to move your car.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh,
you
that's
have to move to the other side of the street.
yeah.
Or because they will come through and they will fucking see who is parked where, and then when they make their round in the 2 hours back through there again, if anybody is over their time, they will fucking ticket you and tow you.
Oh, they tow you also? Okay.
Yes.
I was gonna ask how much is the ticket? If like $10 might be worth it, but
No, they tow your ass
oh,
too.
I got you. Okay.
And
I've never
like
been
the
out there, so
other
I wouldn't
weird
know.
thing, like paying for parking up there
Yeah.
is like so fucking weird because they do like this weird like jockey thing in all of the fucking little parking lots. They will sit there and they'll like park like cars like in like this and be like and like working them in and out and fucking like 9,000 point turns and shit. That's fucking weird shit.
Yeah,
And
it
I
sounds like
hate
it.
LA for that reason.
Right. Well, I've never been there, so I can't say anything about it. But yeah,
That's
I
Hollywood,
have
I
been to
should
some
say.
towns with the street side parking. It does suck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's why I like
So
playing. Like I said, that's why I like having this venue, because not only can I park, everyone else can park, and it makes it a little bit more enjoyable than stressing out. Can I park here? Am I gonna get towed? Someone gonna break into my shit?
and
All
if
the
there's any
above.
and here's the other thing, if there's any bands out there that have a trailer and a van, that's great because you're not carrying a whole big if you've got that much shit that you need that's cool because the parking is there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that like in LA when you play at the Whiskey, when you sign up into the contract for it, you explicitly sign out that you're not bringing a bus.
Right.
And a motor home and a trailer is considered a bus
Oh,
too
wow.
to them.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why I was like, nope, we'll be in a van, and they're like, good.
Yeah, it sounds That sounds like they've been doing it for a while and know better.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the fun thing about it is like when you're loading out, you're fucking essentially when you're done playing, they're loading you right out onto the sidewalk.
Right.
Like, take your shit and get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily this is in a parking lot, so when you get your shit out, you're in the parking lot still. So it's not not like you're
Is
dodging
it
traffic or pedestrians.
is it paved?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a lot better than what I can say.
Yeah. A few steps though. I'll just warn you now. A few steps, but not too
Mm.
bad. It's like 3 up, 3 down. It's not terrible. It's not like a fucking long hallway. You got to carry a fucking refrigerator cabinet up or anything like that. So
Well, I'm glad I don't play on one of those anymore.
yeah, I know you wouldn't care anyway.
I don't
Like,
even know. I might bring the big 18-pound base cab now.
that's for a little stage noise.
Yeah, right. That's all it is stage noise.
Right. Well, you got anything else about booking before we move on to playing?
Um, no, I yeah, no, that's it. Other than
Okay.
I'll run through the promotion of the show later.
Yeah, we'll do it at the end. Yeah, I just want to
Yeah,
say, like, I mean, I don't know how these big festivals do it. I imagine a lot of it is bands just playing for free to get like a stop or a free meal or shower or just to
it
hang
just
out with other
depends.
bands. Yeah, but the big boys at the top obviously get the big money, but the small guys like in the afternoon, I would venture to say a lot of those don't even get paid. Like they
Uh,
just trade off like a tour stop, with some
yeah,
merch sales. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of
None
it
of,
is. I try to pay everybody on shows, no
yeah, none
matter
of that shit
what.
going on with my show. I pay everybody, even if it's like, $50 to a local. I still try to get everyone at least $50. You know,
Right, and my promotion is definitely a labor of love because, like, I've had some really amazing shows in the past. I've had some really shit shows in the past and in the future, and both, and whatever. And like, I think ultimately it is a hard game, and doing the right thing is ultimately, I think, what most promoters go through is the hardest part. And because it is so easy to fuck people over in this business of cash
yeah,
that doing the right thing, like I've tried to do for so many people, is fucking, sometimes you don't get recognized for it.
yeah,
And that's what sucks about promoting sometimes. But anyways, playing.
yes, playing, totally different animal, dude. It's fucking hard to get on some of these festivals. It really is.
uh I want you to answer this first.
Yeah, go ahead,
What is your idea of playing festival shows?
man.
Like,
It's just like it's fun, first of all. Might not be the best billing or whatever usually, but I would say I've played two semi-major fests. I played Maryland Doom Fest back in 2019 with Conan headlining for that day. And then I played the Heavy Mountain Fest in 2000, I think 18, which was night one doesn't really have a big headliner, but night two was like high on fire bands of that caliber. So my
right.
name is on my name's on the poster with High on Fire, which is fucking awesome to me. I feel like I made it.
Yeah.
Then, you know, Maryland Doomfest, was cool. We played like this venue called Guido's Speakeasy, which is actually a famous meme. It's the one with the three guys looking down at the step and it says, "At the stage," and then yes, it is. That's the fucking stage. We played on that. We played on that piece of wood. It was a good turnout. We blew the fucking electrical system out. So
Nice.
yeah, that was the last Maryland Doomfest show at that venue. Because they didn't do it the next year because of COVID. So we kind of had
Ah,
that going for us. But it's fun. I mean, like you're kind of I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of egos at the fest. Like Maryland Doomfest especially had some ego people going on. Like you go try to set up your merch, like, oh no, when are you playing? You tell them like, oh no, you gotta set up over there. These are for like later bands and stuff like that. Like, dude, this is a fucking empty table, man. What the fuck? But anyway, you just move on to avoid conflict and not give yourself a bad name. Um, And you
That's
just got, yeah,
really it right there.
yeah, and you got like, just you just kind of like okay, well, we'll just fucking we'll play fucking hard, and people will fucking like us, and they'll come look for our merch, and hopefully they'll walk by yours to go buy ours. That's the best payback you can do. It's a lot of dick measuring at festivals too. I've noticed a lot of that. A lot of dick measuring. But ultimately, man, it's fun because your name is on the flyer forever, even if it's last,
Right.
like ours was. A Maryland Doom Fest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got a backstage pass. We got a laminate with our name on it, which was the first time. The dude paid us before we even played. We got there. He just handed us a fucking envelope with money in it. So that was done. We got free food and beer. Stuff like that. Talk to other bands, network with other bands and stuff. Things like that. So
Best festival I played.
Do what?
That's about 1,000,000 times better than the last festival I played.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if all festivals are equal. Like, I've only played two. The other one was the local one here. We played with High on Fire, or the same festival as High on Fire did the next night and stuff. But that was like the night one was like kind of locals show. So we knew all the bands, so there wasn't any like wasn't really any dick measuring on that one. It was kind of like a more chill vibe. But dude, we've applied for many festivals, and either A, you don't hear back, or B, they just kind of break the news to you. We're not what you look. We're not. You're not what we're looking for because of like either too far away, not big enough, not signed, don't have anything to really offer as far as bringing the crowd, stuff like that. And if they shoot you straight, it's fine. You understand, but you don't know until you shoot your shot. Like, I'd rather hear a no than a nothing, because nothing sucks. Because you just never really know. Like, dude, did they even get this email? Like, did we have a chance they didn't get it? What happened?
And I'll say this too.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. Any application fee shit.
No, I avoid those.
Don't fucking do.
No, because they're just making money off you. They know they're gonna make they're gonna get like two or 300 applicants, but for like $25 a piece, and that's gonna go towards paying their bands. So why am I going to contribute to that when I can't even? You're not even gonna respond.
Or they're either not gonna respond, or they're not gonna fucking do anything. Yeah. And
that's like worse than pay to play. That's like pay to maybe play. That's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
shit like Sonic did started that shit.
Yeah, are they around anymore?
Like, I think so. I think they still are hanging by like a thread.
Yeah,
because it's still an EPK setup. Fucking, I remember things like Ayuma and fucking weird fucking shit. Like,
I mean, Reverb Nation did show that too. I think they were. Yeah. I think actually they were through Sonic Bids
at one time. I think so.
Yeah,
I bet their stock's like 12 cents a share.
The worst goddamn band website there is. It's fucking.
You could fucking their stock's like 12 cents a share. You could fucking buy the entire company for $22.50.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Reverb Nation, the hands down the worst band networking site on the fucking planet.
Yes.
Fucking worthless. I looked not too long ago. We are number 32 in the actual area for active bands.
Nice.
I didn't know there's 32 bands here.
Wow.
For metal and hard rock. Yeah.
Ultimately, for me, playing festivals is kind of the thing of like, okay, if you're playing a festival at home, like we play Metal Fest. We played Metal Fest almost every year that we've been around, right?
Right.
And like those are fun because it's like, oh hey man, how's it going? How have you been, dude? You're cool.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's like hanging with friends, and you're just like, dude, I saw where you were doing this, man. That's rad as fuck. And, and it might be the only time in the year that you actually see them, or you actually go out to another show and they're there.
Yeah.
Those are there, but then, and that's like kind of the one side of the rat race kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like then the other side are the ones that are away from home, where it's like, you might be like 6-8 hours away, and you're playing the opening slot, and you're basically there because you asked at late in the game, right?
Right.
It's like, dude, this would be great if we could do this. And fucking like, yeah. And then, you're sitting there and there's like 6 people in the room
Yes, yes.
because it's the
That's why
opening slot. It's
that's what I avoid. That's why I always put locals here on the opening, whether it's my band or we had a band jump on last minute for this year's Steel and Stone that probably should be co-headliner. But because I had everything already fucking sorted and everyone was good with their spot, I couldn't just tell someone like, hey, we're moving you. So like I pretty much told them like it's opening or nothing, basically. And they were like, they took it. I was like, okay, cool. No hard feeling. I was up front and now we have like a co-headliner size band opening the show, which I was like, that's wild as fuck. But
right.
It adds a little bit of value. So it gives people incentive to get there early, which is good.
Well, yeah, it does. And honestly, too, the cool thing about, like playing some of these is actually meeting some awesome fucking bands that are like, midways away from you,
Yeah.
So for example, like when we played Blades of Steel, meeting bands like Eric Cobra and shit like that were fucking awesome. And, playing with Screamer and Hellfire.
Yeah.
And shit, and James Rivera, and The Accused and shit, that's fucking awesome. And like, but like being able to book stuff like that is like insane these days.
Yeah. I can't even imagine how difficult getting like a out of country band would be, let alone out of state band nowadays.
Right.
Like I know when Conan played here the first time in town we opened for him, their guarantee was $2,000, dude.
Mm.
Yeah. But a lot of that money covers though? It covers like visa costs and shit like that. So it's not really like they're demanding $2,000. It's like they have to have that because it's so
Right.
fucking
Break
expensive
even.
to play here in the States. And especially not even getting political, but this is the real thing. Like years that Democratic presidents or the Congress is in is way better for out of town bands than when Republican Congress or presidents in, because it's like this weird like economy thing where like they don't really like want to nickel and dime you to death. Like one does, one doesn't. One
Right.
wants to make it hard and make money off people coming in from other countries. One's a little more laissez-faire. So years or administrations that are like left leaning are always better for out of town bands.
And yeah, and
Hands
out of
down.
country bands. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fact. Like it's just a fact that happens. So
Yeah. And they make it easier for people to get work visas and shit.
exactly.
And to flourish economy and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from all the political stuff. Yeah. But seriously though, like yeah, like even just like booking a 3-band bill, with a touring band that's coming from even the United Kingdom or whatever is tough because it costs so much money. When you're dealing with like almost a $5,000 overhead at the beginning of a show on a B market town.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Maryland Doomfest, like I asked him one time and he said like he had to pay part of their Conan's visa bill because they were like getting paid and it was like a taxed performance. So he had to like put all that stuff down that they were like from the UK and you had like these fees and stuff like that. It was like I think it's the first and only band he's ever had from out of the country play his festival. I don't think he's done it since because there's a lot of extra work to get him, over here.
A lot of extra bullshit hoops.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, dude, it really shouldn't matter. Like if the band pays their visa,
Well,
then
that's the
on
reason
the
why.
customs on the way out, they don't tell them what they owe.
Well, that's the reason why Venom Inc.'s tour was canceled last year, was because of visa issues for Mantis, because he was within 6 months of expiration,
Right.
within 2 months of them going on tour.
Right.
And they would not let him renew it until it actually expired, which would have been when they would have been on tour.
Right.
And then they had to reschedule everything for this year.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man. I know there was a pretty big tour a couple of years ago that got canceled. Well, the first time from COVID, the second time they just canceled it, but it was a band I'm a big fan of called Wolfheart. They were like the opening band. It was like with a couple other like pretty extreme metal bands, but that tour got totally scrapped because once it was like I remember what happened, but something happened where like they just went up on like visa fees and they were like, yeah, we can't make it, you know.
Yeah, that's like what had happened with like the Seven Sisters Entranced Haunt tour, is they did that when they did because like they had already put back so much money to do it
Mm-hmm.
that it didn't make sense for them not to do it at that point. But the visa fees were so much that like they don't know if they would ever be able to come back. They thought,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
if it was like that every time, it's totally not worth it.
It's a real shame that like the arts always really suffer the most out of everything. Like, dude, these are just people like it's just art at the end of the day. Whether it's
Mhm.
music, making a movie, playing like coming over to play like a Broadway play, a
Yeah, it's all
ventriloquist act, fucking
exploitation of it.
comedy act, whatever you are, it's an art. And like, dude, the shit is so fucking like oppressed by like it seems like everybody. It just seems like, oh, you make music, well, I mean, let's do it for free because it's a fucking joke. You know, that's why people like, I think that's how people think about it. But dude, it's like a lot of people are lucky enough to make a livelihood. But dude, like me, like I take my music serious. Like I don't give the shit away. You know, I mean,
Right.
I say that when I'm on Spotify, I basically give the shit away. But you know what I mean? Like
I
I'm
know
not just out
exactly.
there like, you know, handing out free CDs to everybody, you know, just certain people, yeah, you gotta smooze, but like not just like Joe Blow, like, hey man, put me on your guest list. I'll come out tonight. It's like, nah, it's all right. Rather have someone else pay $10 to get in and help all the bands out instead of just you coming in to give me an extra head then fucking leave, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and I get that too. And I've only I've only ever used my guest list spots for people, that that are doing stuff for the band.
We just do it for wives
Like
and
somebody who
girlfriends.
somebody who is taking pictures for us.
Yeah,
It's
stuff
like,
like
here,
that.
use my guest list spot.
Yeah. Yeah, like wives, girlfriends, or boyfriends, if that's the case, and then like photographers or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a stagehand if someone's gonna help, stuff like that. But yeah, like actually the year that I did Night Demon 21, yeah, 21, I didn't let anybody in have a guest list because we needed like every head to pay to make sure we had enough to pay the band.
Right.
That was the only year I've done that. Everyone understood. Everyone was actually cool with it, which just surprised me. There was no blowback. But
Which is
yeah, but
because
this year,
usually there's always somebody.
yeah, I was like, oh man, really? But yeah, this year is one guest per band member for like just like immediate like relatives, like wives or stagehands
Hmm.
or personal life photographer, stuff like
Not
that.
the homeless guy Casey from across the street.
No, no, not that guy, not that guy. He's not getting in. Maybe Encore last band we'll let him in, but no,
Dang.
no. So yeah, man, it's tough, man. Like it's fun and it's frustrating on both sides, like playing and booking. But at the end of the day, when it's a good turnout and you book it, you feel really good because it's like, man, like 70 people had a really good fucking time tonight, basically,
Yeah.
or 80, or in the case of Night Demon, 100, which we had from like all over the fucking place. I mean, all over the fucking place. It blew my mind, dude. Canada. We had a guy from Brazil, even though he didn't come from Brazil to go to the show, but
But he's from,
he
yeah.
traveled like 4 hours from where he was at to go to the show. Michigan, we had some people from Florida, people from like um
Dude, that's
I think
awesome,
New
man.
York, Detroit, I think was one. Yeah, that's in Michigan. We had some like press there, like Brave Words, Bloody Knuckles was there covering the show.
Nice.
And we charged him too to get in. So yeah, nobody got in free that nobody got in free that night. Only the band members. And I think I even ended up paying myself to go in. So like it's $15 in the pot. I am seeing Night Demon. I should just go ahead and just don't put my money where my mouth is. And no one's getting in free. I'm not getting in free either. You know. So I paid $15 to get in my own show. Does that sound weird? I just wanted to make sure the guarantee was
That's
met.
a very entrepreneurial thing to do.
I just wanted to make sure the guarantee was met, and other bands got a little bit of the pie. And to be honest with you, I probably got that money back because we We actually hit their guarantee on pre-sales. Everything else was just fucking money in my pocket, so it worked out. Yeah.
There you go. Hell yeah, man.
So yeah, anyway, going this year, Secrets Out of the Bag, Mark is playing my fest this year. He will be third in the lineup now. We have a new band jumped on that is pretty much the cause for the delay. I got their logo earlier, got to put them on the flyer. We got to rework the flyer to include them, make it look good, change the price. So that's the reason for the delay. But Mark will be playing third after us. So make sure you show up early, because I can tell you there will be a pre-sale, $12, and every pre-sale gets a guaranteed comp CD of all the bands playing that night. It won't be available anywhere except for at the show, so it's going to be super limited edition. Probably I would say no more than 50 tops. I don't think the pre-sale is going to blow the world up or anything, but hopefully, with the addition of the new band playing and the comp CD, to give people incentive to get there early, because it does start early for Friday. It starts at 7, but every band gets 40-minute sets except for the last one, who gets as long as they want. So it's almost like it's a festival with full sets, which I can say at the Wimmer festivals you will not get lower tier bands with full sets. You might be lucky for 25 minutes. I can guarantee everyone will give 40 if they want to. It's really up to them.
But on my fest gets between 25 and 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then a whatever.
Well, I'm just doing mine 7 to 8, and then 8 o'clock next band starts. That includes playing and load up. Yeah. So 20-minute turnaround in between each bands. So
hell yeah.
It should move pretty fast. And they have a kitchen there. They have good craft beer there. They have PBR there if you're into that. After this episode, you watch this episode, please tune in to the Facebook announcement on Steel and Stone. You'll see all the details there. And I'm pretty excited about it, man. I'm feeling good about this year. I think it's going to be really fun.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and plug the Big Goddamn Metal Show.
Go ahead.
Obviously, the Big Goddamn Metal Show, 2 nights, 2 venues, Friday the 13th. Ooh.
Good date, man. You lucked out on that date, I'd say.
Friday the 13th at 21st in Germantown, night 1, starting at 7:30 with Halfcaster, Kill the Crown, Rifle, some Doom fucking metal in Stormtoker, Eulogy in Blood, and Throne of Iron. And then Saturday,
I'll stop you right there. Halfcaster, Rifle,
yes.
And there was one more you just said. Stormtoker. I haven't played with or met all 3 of those bands personally. All really good bands.
Actually, you've played with all 3 of those bands.
We haven't played. Yeah, we did play with Stormtoker down here, didn't we? I forgot about that.
Yeah, we did. Guillotine AD, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
You've played with Stormtoker.
I played with 3 of those bands personally, so yeah, keep going.
Yeah, they're all amazing fucking people. I love them all. Obviously, Todd from Overload is the drummer in Halfcaster.
Right.
And Todd and Jeff and Halfcaster and I were all in a band years ago called Ascend to Dust. The dudes in Rifle, the dudes in Kill the Crown, Stormtoker, Eulogy in Blood, all fucking Louisville, Lexington fucking standouts, fucking awesome people.
Right.
And then obviously Throne of Iron, the people who took over the headline spot, their first time in Louisville.
That's pretty awesome.
Ever. So the Dungeon Crawl metal, hell yeah. And then Saturday, 10/14 at the Mag Bar, we have the night starting at 6:30. So we're going to start 6:30 on Saturday because we have one additional band than the night before. We've got Mothhorn Aug, Misery Machina, The Promise of Plague, my bros in Kerr, who are also playing the Siege of Lexington show here in a couple of weeks,
right?
With us and Overload and what, and then Louisville heavy hitting Baptize is playing, and super rad fucking people. I love watching their show. They also do a pretty cool fucking thing called Hangover Kill. And it's on. They always do the Death Day concert, no matter what day it's of the week it's on. If it's on a Tuesday, and it's the Lemmy death anniversary.
Right.
So, and that's cool shit. Then my band Overload is playing, and then Snafu from Detroit are coming in. And I am so fucking excited for all of this because it's going to be 2 fucking banger nights and such fucking good rad times for everybody.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's Snafu opening for I'll just save you the air quotes. Snafu opening for Pantera Lamb of God is a pretty big deal, man. Like,
Man,
I think
yeah, with them being on
like,
House Tour,
hopefully that can bring some people in. Hopefully.
well, that's the interesting thing, and I hope so too, because Scott from Snafu made a post on Instagram where he said, our second to last show was in a 2-car garage. Last night I opened up for 23,000 people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy fuck, man. It is. It's like, that's insane. And they performed Walk on stage with the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the first night. Yes. Yeah. And it's so cool. And Baby Guthrie Photography's out there on the road covering their Snafu stuff right now. And, she's a friend of the Metal Forge. And, they are too. And it's awesome shit.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah. I like hearing good, stories for bands that deserve it.
Yeah, and they absolutely do, because they've been playing for like 14 years together.
Right.
They've been out for a while. And
yeah, hold on. Maybe I can hold out hope that we'll get a show of that one day, because we've been together for like, I want to say like 16.
Right.
The biggest we had was like 300 people at the Orange Peel with a band that, well, I'll just say it. It was Iced Earth, 2012 Iced Earth. 300 people on a Sunday. And then the Heavy Mountain Fest we played night 1 was a sold out show. It was 250. So we've had 2 shows with over. Oh, and the Y&T show was a pretty good turnout also. We played, but those were the only like really of any size that we've played. So it's pretty crazy playing to like 300 people, man. It's like, wow, that's a lot of fucking people.
Oh yeah.
But then we see like 23,000, it's like, wow, that wasn't a lot of people.
Right. That's one of the things I like doing when I go to shows, is I just like standing and like looking around and just seeing the sea of people and like being in the middle of them and being like, wow, they're all here for the exact same reason.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Mark. Well, I think it's a pretty good episode. A little insight on how these little guys just do little fest and little things. It's like Alan Jack said, we're all itty bitty.
Oh yeah. Or chasing that neon rainbow.
Oh yeah, the Brooks and Dunn. Is that the Brooks and Dunn one?
That's Alan Jackson.
Oh, is it? See, I don't know my 90s country all that well. I just there's a few.
90s country is metal in disguise.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is.
I've been telling Joe for a long time, Shadebeast, like, dude, why don't you do a Dwight Yoakam sticker? Like, come on. Like, Dwight's the fucking man.
He is.
Yeah.
Especially like dude Dwight from like Panic Room.
Yeah. Yeah, Dwight Yoakam's the shit, man.
Like dude Dwight, where he's a movie villain. Where he just looks like raunchy as hell, like in fucking
I love him in Blade, like in Sling Blade.
Yeah. Where he's the evangelical minister in 4 Christmases.
Yeah.
That's married to Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah. Yeah, Dwight's the man. I always told Joe, like, you should do a Dwight Yoakam sticker. Come on.
Yeah, he is. I like Dwight Yoakam. I've actually seen Dwight Yoakam perform in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was it like slender Dwight, or was it kind of like fat Dwight? Because he's put some weight on, dude.
It was 2004.
So it's probably like in between.
Yeah, he was doing some movies, but he wasn't like fat balding. Like he was always balding, but he wasn't like the fat, disgusting looking Dwight for the time.
There's a lot of Dwight nowadays. Let's just say that. But he still gets those skinny ass jeans. It kills him.
Yes. And but yeah, it was that was an interesting trip. I got to see so many awesome bands that trip.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to see, of course, Dwight Yoakam in Austin, and then I also got to see Blues Traveler and Cake
Mhm.
and Little Richard.
Oh, nice. That's a cool one.
And those three were on the same bill.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Did Little Richard headline?
Yes.
Okay, I would have imagined so. That's just like a
Yeah.
thing I have, like respect for like your elders kind of thing, you know.
Oh yeah. But he put on it's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Yeah. But I love that stuff. And honestly, I can thank my dad for that because of Predator.
Now, of course, the helicopter scene's, legendary.
That is the reason why I love Little Richard.
Right.
And like being young in that day and then seeing him on Full House.
Yeah. You know what's funny about let's just derail here real quick before we just end it. The funny thing about that scene is like Little Richard being a gay black man from Macon, Georgia, is like the scene in Predator when that's playing has like the most homophobic like reference like you
Yeah.
remember, and it's like so weird that like back in like 87 or 88 whenever it came out, that shit was like not even like an afterthought or a concern. Like you see how far like society has come in a short amount of time, because if that was done nowadays in an action movie, first of all it would never make the cut.
Oh no, it would be
Second of all,
rated like
like
it'd be
Jesse
like
Ventura would have
rated.
been like demolished for saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe he said that. And honestly, I think that's
It's
what.
the time, man. It was just a macho movie,
Yeah.
and that was like how it was. That's how it was.
Right.
But I own Predator, so even if that part's ever deleted out or edited, I still have the original, so I'm
Oh,
good.
like E.T.
I never liked ET. Is there a new edit of ET that I don't know
Yeah,
about?
because the original edit of E.T., the mother is saying you're not going to go out of here looking like a damn terrorist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're all running around with cap guns and shit.
I missed that because I only saw ET once. I never much cared for it, but
Mm.
that's just
And then now it's a really bad like Lucasfilm edit, like in the first special editions of Star Wars that are now the only editions of Star Wars.
yeah, unfortunate for all.
When like some of the edits were terrible, like the
Han and
yes,
Greedo.
but you have where you don't get the whole line where they cut the frame
Yeah,
early
yeah,
on the yes. Um, that's what they did with the mom in ET.
gotcha.
In the edit, she's like, "You're not gonna go out of here looking like a hoodlum."
Gotcha. Well, I'll probably never watch ET again, so I'll never probably see it. But
The worst part of ET is when he's like devoid of like life and he's like pale white skin and falling in the river in like a little creek. It's very sad in that moment now, and I don't want to watch it because of that.
dude,
It's the same reason why I don't want to watch Short Circuit 2 after they take the axes and shit to Johnny Five, because
right.
it makes me feel bad.
The thing about ET, but I don't like it, and have seen it twice actually. I saw it once I was a kid. I went with when I was growing up. I went with somebody else, and we were supposed to go see a cartoon that I wanted to go see. Like I was really excited. I don't even remember what the cartoon is now. It might be like Secret and Nymph or something like that, maybe. But I thought we were going to see this cartoon, and we went to go see fucking ET, and I was just fucking pissed. I was like, "What the fuck? I don't want to see this. I want to see this other cartoon." And so I just had like this. I just sat in there with like my arms crossed, just hated the whole time. And I never got over that. Like it's still a thing that bothers me. But I did watch it later on when I was older, and I thought it was boring. So yeah, ET just doesn't really speak to me. He can phone home all he wants. I'll probably he's not using my goddamn phone. That's for sure. Um,
He ain't using my goddamn phone.
Get the fuck out of here, you brown skinned motherfucker. Go back where you came from.
Hey, dude, don't say that. So, do you discredit
I'm
ET
talking about
being
ET the extraterrestrial, not in person. So
do you discredit ET being in the Star Wars universe?
oh, jeez. Well,
He recognized Yoda in the film. In the ET film, he recognized the costume of Yoda, and in episode 1, they are in the Senate.
Do you know that in Neverending Story that Yoda is in the in there?
Really?
Yeah. If you watch like the first when they go to Fantasia and they're at the council with the queen or the princess, if you look, there's a Yoda puppet on the stage. Like, because Fantasia is imagination. So Star Wars was imagination, therefore part of Fantasia. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, check it out. Check it out.
Ooh.
It's a real thing.
That's a closer relative to fucking yogurt instead of fucking Yoda.
What, the one in Neverending Story?
Yeah, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I know. I know the Spaceballs one, but
yeah. I saw somebody with a drone the other day that was it was the Lone Star One. It was great.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Well, let's wrap it up. We've gone way off track here. We've pretty much crashed this fucking train somewhere a long time ago. But
it's
anyway,
all good, man.
Big Goddamn Metal Show, October 13th and 14th, Steel and Stone here in Asheville at the Auditorium, November 10th. Announcement coming soon, so tune back in. Thursday should be a safe bet. All right, Mark. Well, that's it for this month of the Alehorn. MUDHORN coming up. We have a pretty cool topic, and also both of our unsleeves will be up this month, so be on the lookout for those. As always, every Friday, Metal Forge with the best underground music guest. And yeah, anything else?
This week is Differences from Southern Carson City, California.
Yeah, I never even heard of that band, so I'm like, okay, I'll check them out.
Yeah, they're like they're like what they call a whatever core band.
Oh, interesting.
They're art, but they're hardcore and they're thrash and they're death and they're all kinds of things. Okay. It's really fucking cool. So yeah, check that out. Number 236.
Subscribe to Patreon. You can get a few days early. Just saying.
Yeah. Because
Flamekeeper.vip. All right, guys.
Flamekeeper.vip. Hit it.
Until next time. Metal every day. Stay safe. Stay heavy. See you later.
Check it.
For 45 years and keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. The year was 1979, and all the world was caught up in disco and Star Wars. But in Louisville, something was happening. A young entrepreneur named Ben had a vision to be the best record store in all of the city. Fast forward to 2023, and Better Days Records is still going strong. Still, after all these years, owned by the same guy. We have had some trips and falls along the way, but so does life, and Better Days is here to stay. With two awesome locations at 921 Barrett Avenue and at 2600 West Broadway, Better Days are surely in your future. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana, is the premier 12,500 square foot music superstore that has served both southern Indiana and Louisville, Kentucky metro area for over 4 decades. Originally founded by Marvin and Beverly Maxwell in the 70s, this gym remains a Maxwell family-owned business. Mark Maxwell, along with his business partner Whitney McNichol, continued the reputation as being the national resource for all things music.
In 2022, the iconic Guitar Emporium of Louisville relocated to Maxwell's Music, creating the largest independently owned showroom in the region. The retail offerings at Maxwell's Music include a huge selection of guitars, basses, amplifiers, effects pedals, modeling amps, keyboards, drums, banjos, mandolins, ukuleles, sound systems, stage lighting equipment, and accessories. The music education program at Maxwell's is second to none. From private instrument and voice lessons to DJ, EDM, recording, songwriting, and music theory to rock school, Weekend Warriors, and Maxwell's Music Lab, there is something for every age and every ability level.
Down in Repairland, guitar and instrument repairs and refurbishment are taken care of by the Maxwell's team of expert guitar technicians and luthiers. They also do appraisals of instruments as well. Maxwell's offers installations for professional audio, visual, and lighting systems for schools, churches, clubs, VFWs, funeral homes, sports fields, and so much more. There's also rentable space at Maxwell's, from the music practice and rehearsal rooms for the individuals and bands, all the way to a meeting space and concert venue that seats up to 120. That also includes a professional audio, visual, and lighting system and a sound booth. Maxwell's has it all. All this plus original functioning 1947 recording booth to make your own record. Go to the Guitar Hero throne, to the very own Elvis statue, and don't forget the Harmony Green Pocket Park. There's a reason the Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana has been recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants as a #1 award-winning best store design, as well as top 100 music store year after year. You gotta see it to believe it. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana.